Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Dislife Podcast. I am your host, Mark Valentine, Disney enthusiast, annual pass holder, and DVC member. And as always, I'm so honored that you're joining us here in the Tiki Room studio. I'm excited, James. I just got back, as you know.
Of course, I know.
From Walt Disney World,
like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I mean, the combination of you, Brian, Dwayne, and then Rob joins in on the madness, and I'm like, hey, forget y'all.
I have to apologize to you and Sarah for the gratuitous amount of Disney posts and pictures and whatnot. But we just got, so to everyone that's listening, we just got back from Disney. We had an amazing trip. There was a group meetup. James and Sarah could not get away with us because of their schedule. So I said, hey man, I got to have you on to live vicariously through this Disney trip. So join me and help me break down the trip. And he's going to turn the tables a little bit on me today. And he's going to play quasi-host and shoot questions at me about the trip that we just took. And then we're going to have a good time with Disney Confessionals and try to break the internet.
I think we're both going to lose some listeners after this.
Yeah, we're going to try to break the internet. And as always, James, fill up your roadcaster with all kinds of quotes that can be used against us in the future. Before we get into the episode, for those of you that are watching us here on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click that bell so that you know when we have new episodes and new live streams coming up. And for those of you who are listening to us on the audio only podcast, welcome back. And check out all of our audio podcast episodes over at www.dislifepodcast.com. And the great thing about that website, James, is all of the directories are in one spot. So whether you like to listen on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, over on Amazon, over on Google Podcasts, they're all there. All of the major podcast directories are there, and you can really just pick the one that you want. We have blogs that are over there as well from a lot of our contributors, as well as all of our old episodes. So you can go all the way back to the good old days when it was just a podcast microphone or a Logitech headset and a dream. And then you can get caught up with us and live vicariously through us and have a little bit of Disney magic. So let's get into it, dude. Again, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I thought it was like day 3 when I realized, I was like, yeah, I don't think I got to keep spamming him pictures anymore, because I think he and Sarah are going to kill me.
No, dude, seriously, I enjoy it. The only thing that really gets Sarah is the food pictures. All right. Disney food is, one of those big things. So every time she'd see food, she would immediately be like, oh, great, now I'm hungry, and I'm not going to find anything around here that's going to match up to what they're sending. So she literally, she put the group chat on mute. She's like, I'm done with y'all until you're back from Disney. Like, don't talk to me. Don't message me. I'm done.
And I take a gratuitous amount of food pictures as well.
Yeah.
So Alicia was making fun of me because whenever we would get a food item, a snack item, whatever, I wouldn't eat it. I'd position it, make sure that the silverware was out of the way, napkins are out of the way. And then they would joke. And then after a while I would say, hey, hashtag for the gram, doing it for the gram.
Not for the children. But Sarah, she gets mad at me all the time because I forget about the pictures, right? Which is funny because I'm the one posting on Instagram and Facebook all the time. I forget about the pictures. And so as soon as the food hits the table, I'm taking a bite. So then she's got to get creative and get a picture where the bite is hidden.
She backfills in the 1 or 2 bites by spreading the dish back. I do that as well. It depends on how hungry I am. I've done that. I actually did that a few times on the trip too. And then we spent the greatest thing about this trip. We spent almost the entire time with Lori and Dwayne and Willie. Yeah. And it was so amazing to hang out with them the whole time. But we spent a ton of time with John Henson, tons of time with Alicia Haig, a lot of time with Melissa, and then just getting to meet people from this Dislife Facebook, people from Mouse Marketplace, and For the Love of Disney World. It was the weirdest trip in that it was so different from what we normally do, and we spent a lot of quality time, eating and sitting and really conversating with people. So we weren't like go, jump on rides and then run over to another ride. It was more of a leisurely stroll to get to the ride. and enjoy the conversation along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But Lori Willie would remind me constantly whenever we would get a meal, she would try to get me to take pause and snap the photo of it. But Lori, but I learned of Lori and I, she and I are very much of like mind, that we were the ones that were hanging back, snapping photos of everything for Instagram and for the socials.
Yes.
And then Dwayne and I already knew that we were kindred spirits because we're both ride guys. I had a chance to check out Everest with him. We rode on Splash. We were able to combine our groups, and we rode Rise of the Resistance together. And we had a good time. And then his daughter would text him and say, "How's the bromance going? Is the bromance in full effect?"
Oh, for sure.
And I said, "Of course, yeah, of course."
Yeah. Why is that even a question? I mean, come on. Was it Mackenzie texting? Come on.
Mackenzie was texting and how's the bromance going? So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was really funny.
So, and I got to say this real quick. The POV of Everest that you put on Instagram.
Yeah.
That was this morning. So Tuesday morning. So you go back to his Instagram to look, you might have to go back just a little bit, but it was, I was laughing the entire time because I realized right then, me and Dwayne are kindred spirits on rights. The whoop whoop, the screaming he was doing.
Yeah,
it was so priceless because that's exactly what I'm doing. Stuff that makes no sense at the time. You're just having such a great time. You don't know what really comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, I love in the middle of that ride footage too, that we got the Disco Yeti, and we just get him yelling Disco Yeti.
Yes.
Wait, who screamed that?
So Dwayne was yelling Disco Yeti. So Bella's joining us in the studio again. For those of you that have been listening on the audio only, you didn't have a chance to see her slip into the camera. She can't really hear too much right now because I've got the headphones on and all the audio. But Bella had a good time. What was your favorite thing that we did? Nice and loud, right into the microphone so everyone can hear you.
Everything.
Everything. Not nice right. Yeah, not right into. So she leans over, she blasted right into the microphone.
I've got so many questions for Bella at some point though, because I heard she had such an incredible time, made new friends. I mean,
she did,
and that's what it's all about, right?
She did. So we hung out with John and Heather's son, and she had a good time hanging out, making friends with Sawyer. She met Derek's son. And they hung out. They went on Frozen together. So the kids had a really great time too.
That's awesome.
But thank you. So this is, I think, the second time now that you've showed up. You came and hung out with us when Piano Rob was on a little bit too.
Yep.
So someday, she's getting ready, man, to take over the podcast. Essentially, she'll be ready to take over the pod in like 2 weeks.
Here you go.
I love you.
I've got an idea.
Sarah's like, "Can I marry you?" And I'm like, "I'll have to check with my mom." She says no. And I'm like, "She said yes."
I love it.
Yeah, I'll tell that story. If John gives me permission to tell that story, I'll tell that story. But the kids had a good time. Let's just say the kids had a good time. It was a lot of fun.
And look, I've got an idea for a pod. Okay. We just let Bella's on your end, right? She's sitting there. You can be behind the scenes or something. I'll have Jameson and Phoenix over here, and we just let them go at it. Just let them do their own episode. How great would that be?
We'll reserve the right to publish.
Oh man, it'd be so fun though. All right, so let me ask you a couple questions about your trip, Mark. So, because y'all went down a few days before everybody else, right? Before the group meeting and everything. So, just about those days, what all were y'all able to do by yourselves? I know you and Bella had a daddy-daughter day.
We did.
So kind of how did all of that go? So
the first day that we went down, the funny thing about the first day that we got there was Brian was there. Brian Ferguson, your Brian was there.
Brian with an I.
And we actually connected with him. He had a different park that day. I want to say like that was the day they were at Hollywood Studios. And then they were exhausted and thoroughly done. right about the time when we were flying in and getting in and we're fresh. And you can always tell the parties that are coming to Disney and then the parties that are going. The people that are coming are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go. Yeah. They don't look disheveled and like they've been walking around 10 miles a day for the last 5 or 6 days.
Right.
But we were like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the Magic Kingdom. Brian texted me and said, "Hey, like I'd love to just say hi real quick." So we ran to the front of the Magic Kingdom, said hi to him and Jenny, and like just talked for, again, 15 or 20 minutes and shared some time with them. But the first few days were pretty much like we always do, which is just go, and lot of rides. Trying to take care of our favorites, and we kind of we all do the Disney bucket list,
right?
Where you're just trying to get in those favorites that you've had since the last time that you left. So that first few days was pretty much us, just trying to get everything done that we wanted to get done.
Right.
And it wasn't an overly social trip, but the crowds, I don't know how much. I know that you had Brian on the other night, and I was flying. The sad thing was we were flying back while you guys were live, and I haven't had a chance to really watch it on replay yet, which I will. But you and Brian may have talked about the crowd levels.
No, we actually didn't.
And I'm sure he well, listen, let me just say the crowds are back. So the first podcast we ever did, the last trip that we took back in August, I commented on how low the crowds were, and you can get on all the rides, and you basically could just go on Flight of Passage back to back. You can ride Everest all day long. That was not the case this trip. The lines were back and in full force. And the one thing I will say, it didn't bother me as much as Linda just commented and said, "Yo, we need fast passes back because this is a little intense." It was pretty heavy weights. I mean, at the point where you would go to the Magic Kingdom and like the wait for Small World was, in excess of 50 minutes.
Right.
There was nothing that was lower than 45 and 50 minutes at that point. And that was pretty true. The parks that are always crowded were crowded. Magic Kingdom is always crowded on the weekend. Hollywood Studios is crowded 7 days a week because it's the park right now. But the ones that surprised me was Animal Kingdom was super crowded, and Epcot was insane. Yeah. The days that we did Epcot, it was also a convergence of two events. The Festival of the Arts was ending. It was a holiday week. Dwayne and I talked about the fact that this was originally set to be a marathon weekend, and people just didn't cancel. Even though the race got canceled, people didn't cancel. So everyone was there for winter break. So it was the busiest that I have probably ever seen parks. I realize it wasn't as busy as some other times of the year, but because it was socially distanced, it made it feel like the park was at 80 or 90% capacity in some regards. Like, this was like when you go in the middle of the summer and there's throngs of people just in every single park, and the wait times are really, really high. But we, the first few days, we navigated that as much as we could. We rode what we could.
Yeah.
And, we just, we took it easy the first few days. A little bit of pool time. We got good weather.
Very nice.
We stayed at Coronado at the tower. And then the group wound up joining us at Coronado. We'd never stayed at Coronado, so that was a new experience for us.
How was it? Where does it rank on your list of resorts that you've been at?
So our favorites still, it didn't run. My rankings are funny because I don't blur the lines of budget, moderate, and deluxe.
Right.
I can't do it. I can't pick I can't rank them that way. It's not fair to the budget ones because they just, in a lot of ways with the amenities, they can't compete.
Yeah.
As far as the moderate category goes, so the only moderate that we have left to do at this point is Caribbean.
You haven't done Caribbean?
We have not done Caribbean yet. It's the last on our list. I think a lot of that is because we know how the resort is set up. It's very spread out. And we're suckers for staying close to a main building. Hence, we stayed in the tower at Coronado.
Right.
When we stay at Riverside, same thing. We stay as close as we can to that main building. So the one time we stayed at Riverside, we stayed in the Tiana suite, in the Princess suite.
Yeah.
But my favorite still, because of how small it is Port Orleans French Quarter. That resort it's quiet. It's really nice. The buses are really close and direct. The pool's got a cool vibe to it. The food there is great. You can get beignets there. We knew going into this, it was going to take a lot to unseat it. That said, Coronado. So here's my official review of Coronado, of the tower. We didn't stay outside of the tower.
Right.
The tower is a deluxe resort with a moderate name. So when you're in the tower, the way it looks, the rooms, you feel like you're staying in a deluxe resort.
Yeah.
The only reason it's not a deluxe resort are because the transportation there won't allow it to be. It's a bus only resort. It shares 3 bus stops. So the tower is oddly enough, it's the last of the stops. So usually it picks up at 2 stops before it gets to the tower. So the transportation was a bit of a mess right now, that by the time the bus would pull up to the tower, sometimes, like if you're going to MK, it would be 3/4 of the way full. So it would only take 2-3 families with social distancing.
Right.
So you had to wait a while for transportation. So we rented a car and we called it This Dislife.
Nice. Love it. Love it.
And the week we were giving Dwayne and Lori a ride around, we're like, hey, leave us 5 stars. We hope you've enjoyed this Dislife. We go, gate to gate.
That's awesome.
And we're annual pass holders too, so we get free parking.
Mm-hmm. So
for us, it's a little bit more costly than taking the buses, but you don't waste a lot of time waiting for transportation.
Yeah.
So, but I'd probably rank it on my list second.
Okay.
So it's French Quarter, Coronado, Riverside. I haven't done Caribbean, so it's not fair to rank it. So that's just going to fall to 4th because I haven't been there.
And give you this is my input about Caribbean when y'all do stay there, taking what you just said into account. We stayed in the Aruba building, which if you look at the map and you look at everything about it, it looks like it's one of the furthest buildings away from the main building. It's only about a 6-minute walk to the main building, if that. And plus you're right there by Riverside. Oh my goodness, Riviera. You're right there next to the Riviera. So you've got the Skyliner right there. You've got the Riviera right there. So you can go in there to get coffee or whatever. Right. So we really loved the Aruba building.
I'm sold. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it. Our mission is, love it or hate it. We're going to try everything.
Yeah.
With a little bit of an asterisk. We're never going to try sports ever. It's just not going to happen. We've done enough All-Stars. We've done movies and we've done music to know what the All-Stars experience is like. I don't need to see a gigantic soccer ball to know that that's what it's going to be like. Yeah. Plus the groups all booked there. And Lisa and I talked about this when we had our episode. Yeah. I don't think I would ever be able to tolerate people running around at 3:00 in the morning going crazy because the chaperones aren't watching them.
Yeah.
Like I would be that guy. I'd be like the get off my lawn guy. That would be me at 3:00 in the morning, like screaming, you kids go to sleep. It's so late. That would be me.
If y'all are listening to this, you've got to go back to YouTube just to watch his face in that part right there.
I had the lip curl and everything.
He had it all down.
But we, so left on our list at this point, we have Caribbean, Riviera Resort for obvious reasons. It's new. We haven't had a chance to stay there yet. Right. Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, which are DVCs. That will do. We'll stay there when they're available for DVC.
Yep.
And then Grand Floridian, which is booked. And then our bucket list is Poly. Nice. It's weird because Poly is more of a bucket list item for us than Grand Floridian.
Yeah, I would say for us as well. I mean, the Poly is really, that's the only deluxe that we have in mind, simply because Grand Flo is a beautiful resort and everything, but we just feel so out of place there. So, but
that's fair. Yeah,
yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
To say that.
Look, when we went to 1900 Park Fair in December, not this past December, but in 2019, there were women in there wearing heels and dresses, and I'm like,
yeah,
why?
No, I get that. Like we're we clean up well.
Yeah.
But like we're not bougie. We're very down to earth people, and I've had that feeling at Grand Floridian that you've walked in and you've gone to a restaurant and you just feel very underdressed or just unsophisticated. Although we're not, you just feel like this isn't my element. These aren't my people. So to speak.
Like we're walking around in the parks and, our outfit is on fleek, right? We've got that drip down, but you walk into the Grand Flow and it's like,
So to transition on a separate topic, you saw that we had to buy an extra piece of luggage this last trip because the shopping was off the hook. My wife will tell you too. She'll blow up the comments in YouTube and probably on Facebook. She'll be like, "It was you, Mark. It was your fault," and it was. It actually was, but I blame Alicia.
I was going to ask if it was really Alicia's fault.
It's really Alicia's fault because she gets so passionate about the merch that it made me see merch way different this trip than I probably had. Plus, we had a 30% AP discount on this trip too, so we took full advantage of it. The first few times I bought something, and you're like, "Oh, that's going to be $80," and then they would come back with the 30% off, and you're like, "Well,
yeah."
In that case, I think I'll buy this too.
So, other than the luggage that you bought, because I've seen the luggage, is awesome looking.
Yeah, Sarah loved it. Yep.
Yes. What was your favorite piece of merch that you bought this time?
Easily the lightsabers. We did the lightsaber experience, both Isabella and I. So hot tip. Here's a hot tip for anyone who's been looking to book a lightsaber experience. So the entire week we could not find a lightsaber experience on My Disney Experience app. Mm-hmm. So MDX had no availability, and we found one singular availability on a Monday morning, first thing as soon as the park opened. So we rushed to get to it. We rope dropped the park. We were actually in park at about like 8:30. And then a hot tip is the session that we were in was not only not booked completely, there were several spaces still left at park opening. So my advice to you is if you really ever want to do a lightsaber experience, not that it's a guaranteed thing, but your best bet to get availability is get to the park even before it opens at like 8:30, get right to Savi's workshop, and then ask the attendant and say, we need one or two spaces. We'd like to build a lightsaber. And then there's a good chance you're going to get in, because we only had one booked and we were so easily able to get one for Isabella too. And there were still another 2 or 3 spots around the construction table that were open. So, we built lightsabers. Isabella chose a Sith hilt. So she went with power and control. I took defense and loyalty. So I went with like the Jedi Temple, the Jedi Guardians.
Yep.
And I did choose, though, I will let you know, I chose a red hilt that day. And it was because my anger got the best of me that morning. Everyone's texting me going, "Did you get a boarding group?" And I'm like, "Nope." I was filled with anger, fear, and aggression that morning. I was channeling my inner Sith, so mad at Rise of the Resistance because it was not possible to click any faster. It was 7:00 on the dot. And James, I'm telling you, the cadence of my clicking was click, 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 just like that. And it was gone. The boarding groups were gone in less than 3 seconds on Sunday. So I was like fit to be tied that we could not get a boarding group. We went to Hollywood Studios, and I was filled with Sith rage.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I probably would have been trying to change my part.
So So Isabella got the Sith hilt with a purple blade, which
nice.
I don't hate it. It's the color of Mace Windu. I don't hate it at all. And I got the red crystal, the red kyber crystal with the Jedi blade. So I said, well, you know what? If I ever turn back to the light, I can always just take the crystal out, and then I have a more appropriate color for her blade. That if we ever change the color in her blade. But then I did this, my man. I went out and I picked up the Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, I saw that
special crystal.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
And you'll be happy to know that it's in the blade. So it's not red anymore.
Yes.
Because then the next Friday I did get a boarding group, and I found my way back to the light.
Hey, look, I'm just glad you didn't go all Kylo Ren on Hollywood Studios.
I thought about it. Like the beginning of the last
had a problem then.
Yeah, I thought about it. The Last Jedi, where he's like wrecking shop.
Right.
I was mad. So again, it's controversial. I've said this before. I said it in my 3rd episode. I do not like the boarding groups. Whether I get a boarding group or I don't, I do not like them. I think that they are inherently unfair to people who travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles for the sake of experiencing that one ride.
Mm.
I'm fortunate in that we do come like sometimes 2 or 3 times a year.
Right.
We also know in advance, we plan 3 or 4 Hollywood Studios days to give ourselves as many chances as we can.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you the number of people that on this last trip that I met who booked a park day, 1 Studios day, and they missed out on it. And, whether they came from Missouri or they came from Minnesota or they came from Ohio, they were mad. They were mad. And I don't blame them for being upset that they have to try their luck with a digital lottery to try to get the most coveted ride. It's just not fair. It's a terrible system.
And if I could make a suggestion to Disney, so Disney, if you're listening, turn the volume up right now. If you're going to have the boarding group system, the boarding pass system, then make it to where, and this is nothing against the locals. I don't want anybody to think that, but I've got a couple buddies who, when they go once or twice a week, they're getting a Rise boarding pass every single time because they have mastered the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Limit those. So if there's a way, and there's got to be, right, where they can say, this guy's been on it twice this month.
Mm-hmm.
We're not giving him one. Like there's got to be a way to sort that out to where more of the people, like you're saying, that are traveling from, California right now,
So there has to be something they can do to reward people that are staying on property.
Yes.
Of people that are staying on property, whether it's a single fast pass, 1 per trip for that ride, there has to be something they can do to entice people that are coming and staying on property. We talked about this too. This episode is going to be filled with hot takes. I just never assumed that we were going to get to them before we even get to the
right.
Disney confession part. But throughout the course of the trip, we talked about right now, fast passes are still not there. Disney dining plan is still not there. My Disney experience is now diminished, and it's going to be gone very soon. They're going to get rid of it. That you don't get luggage service anymore. The advantages and the perks of staying on site are slowly diminishing, and the prices have not changed. The prices are still the same.
Hey, Mark, I want to back up just a second. You said my Disney experience. I think you meant Magical Express.
Magical Express. Yep. Thank you. Thanks for the catch. Magical Express is going to stop service next year. So there has to be something that can be done to reward the people that are loyal customers and are staying on property. I think that, and my wife talked about this, that let's say hypothetically Fast Pass gets replaced by like a Max Pass system.
Yep.
If I'm staying on property, I think that I should get at least 1 or 2 Fast Passes or all 3 built into that package, that I shouldn't have to pay for my Fast Passes.
Agreed.
That there's got to be something that's there to entice you to say, hey, listen, I'm staying on property. Here's a perk. They've also said, and Wolf talked about this, they're getting rid of extra magic hours.
Yeah.
So again, what is the perk of me staying on site? Disney's going to have to get creative, and they're really going to have to say, here are the advantages if you choose to stay with us. This is why you should stay with us.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, next time we go down, we're probably staying off property because we drive, right? So it's not an issue for us to be able to get to the parks. We don't need the Disney transportation. So we're probably going to stay off property and save that money.
Well, listen, full disclosure. So we rented a car. The Enterprise that was on property was all sold out. So we rented a car from Budget, and it was a garden tree that the Budget was inside of the lobby.
Okay.
You could throw a baseball from the hotel and hit the springs. The car was so convenient to pick up and drop off right then and there that I even said to her, I'm like, listen, they had free breakfast. The hotel was really, really nice. You could throw a baseball to hit springs. We have APs, so we can park in the parks. I know that they run the Disney transportation early so that the gates aren't even open yet, and there's already people queued from being in the parks that are at the gate. But aside from that, if I'm saving that much money and I'm staying at the Hilton, I'll consider it. I'll consider it.
Yeah, and another thing that I've been looking into is there's houses that are like 3 to 5 minutes from the gates that, the ones I've been looking at are anywhere from 130 to 150 a night, and they sleep 10 people. So you can easily have, 2 or 3 small families, right?
Yep.
Going and chip in, and then you're looking at nothing.
We love staying on property because we love the bubble.
Yes.
We love the bubble. We love the extra magic. We love the convenience. I love Disney so much that I'll forgive anything. I will forgive anything. I will overlook everything because I love the company so much.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I'm very patient and eagerly anticipating the return of a lot of the amenities that we as loyal customers have come to expect from the House of Mouse.
Yeah.
And the first one being the dining plan, which is super convenient. We miss the dining plan with every new restaurant that reopens. And that's the other thing. They have to start reopening some of these restaurants. Dude, I wish you could have seen the crowds. You
FaceTimed me multiple times. I saw them.
The demand for restaurants are there in that if they're socially distancing these restaurants, there's only so many people that can fit into them at one time.
Right.
And the reservations were super hard to get. Even restaurants that normally are, I can walk up. We're full. We're full this week. So, I mean, again, that my opinion of that might greatly be skewed by the fact that it was a holiday weekend. The crowds were notably larger. We saw from people who were there today and yesterday, the crowds have diminished greatly. Cast members can go, they were blocked out the entire week, which is how we knew it was going to be busy. When the cast members get blocked out and they can't go to any parks, we were trying to connect with Piano Rob and we never could do it in parks because it was that crazy.
Yeah.
But from what I saw, the demand is still very high, that I think that they can start contemplating and saying, let's open more restaurants. And when they do that, you have to be able to offer the dining plan for people.
Right. And you think, we're just, a week from March right now.
Mm-hmm.
So spring break is about to start kicking in, nationwide.
Yep.
They're only going to get busier. And it never really slows back down after spring break before summer. There's a small drop, but not much of one. But I saw where they're talking about trying to bring back some of the overseas cast members.
Yeah.
So, Disney's seeing that the demand is there. I'm hoping that they see that, while the demand is there, we still, we have our demands that we love to have back.
Disney has set a standard of excellence. That's not a standard that we set. It's a standard they set.
Exactly. They have spoiled us with it.
They have spoiled us. So we have that expectation of Disney.
Yep.
But Walt created from go a different kind of park experience. He said, I don't want my parks to be dirty. He set the ethics. He set the business practices. He developed, like, this is the mission statement, and it has continued to live up to that. So if it's anything but that, we automatically, again, we've been spoiled now for decades. We will point it out right away. And listen, I'm not going to say this because I've never been there, but there's a reason that we don't go to Universal and we don't go to Six Flags and we don't go to those places because we've been so spoiled by Disney that it's almost like nothing can ever live up to it.
Yep.
So when that Disney experience is diminished or it's off, we know I say this too. A lot of us are very patient. Almost everyone that I met was very patient with Disney, saying, we are willing to wait, understanding these are unprecedented times and we have to do what we got to do. And we're great. Listen, and here's the other thing. And I don't want people to listen and be like, man, Mark's getting really negative this time around. I'm not. I'm blessed. I'm super blessed. And for those of you who listen to us out on the West Coast, like I really feel for you guys, because I don't want to complain in that I'm still getting a Disney experience out here in Orlando. Yep. Like, I know how much, and I see people on Instagram like tears as they're doing their lives or they're putting stories up saying how much now they miss Disneyland, and that Disneyland is still not open. And people to say, like, as diminished or whatever it is, you still get Disney. And they're 100% right, dude. Yes. So I'm not going to complain as much as I want this to come off as I am eagerly awaiting a return to normal. And that's what felt so good about this last trip. The crowds were up. The buzz of the crowd was there. The life was there. It wasn't like August where no one was in the park.
Right.
Disney felt alive. It felt like it very much does whenever it was normal. But that said, like, we talked about this constantly, still felt super safe. Mask policy was on point. Not even a second. Like, if you took your mask off for pictures, people would approach you. Yep. If people were walking with their mask down and it was, more of a chin strap and their nose was exposed, right away a cast member would remind you. There's signs up everywhere. If you fight with us on masks, we're just going to exit you from the park.
Yep. Still
super clean. The sanitation procedures were still in effect. There were 2 times that we had to hold on a ride because Everest was one and Splash was another, because they were sanitizing ride vehicles. So, parks are still very, very safe.
Yeah.
But I'm going to repeat the same thing I said with my first podcast episode. If you're not comfortable going to parks, don't go to parks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't go to parks.
Yep. And we will gladly go. I mean, we're comfortable with it. We will go. And it's not that we feel like we're putting anybody at danger or our families or ourselves, because Disney is doing that great of a job.
They are.
They honestly are.
I will talk to people. I'm not going to get political. I will talk to people who will chastise me for going to Disney. And yet I will say to them, the Walmart, the Target that you're going to is just as congested and as crowded as Disney. You just see that as a necessity. And so you're willing to forego the risk in order to shop and to live a normal life. We made a conscious decision that we understand the risks of the virus. We understand all of the things that are out there and they're associated, but you also reach a time where you have to weigh that risk with mental health and the feeling of normalcy. I'm of the mind that the virus is going to probably linger and last and be with us for a while in some form or another. So you have to say at some point, what level of risk am I willing to assume in order to live a somewhat normal life? And again, like, I deal with risk every single day with what I do in my career. We manage risk. That's what we do. So, I play my own actuary, and I say, okay, well, here are the risks and, here's the reward. So here's the cost, or here's the premium. And to me, it was very much worth it. It's very much worth it.
Let me ask you this, Mark, because you've been in August. We went in September, and then you just got back, and I know there was a listener in the Dislife group, asking during the Marvel Monday stream, what the how were the masks and all while you were down there this time? And that's a big question. I think we've all kind of addressed it at some point, but how was it? At this time of the year, walking around the parks all day. Did y'all have any issues at all?
So let me preface my answer with saying we went, and you went in September.
Yep.
So we went at the worst possible point that you could that you could wear masks. It was oppressively hot. We still agreed to do that because we wanted to go to Disney at that point in time.
Exactly.
So February weather, we've now gone, a few years in February. February is hit or miss. Mm-hmm. You'll get mornings, which are on the cooler side and like 50 degrees. Some days you'll walk around all day and it's like 62 and sunny, or you'll get overcast and you get like those autumn summer showers. And, and then you get these one-offers where then it's 78, 79, 81 degrees. The thing about February that's different about August is there's not as much humidity. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, the masks were not unbearable at all. And in some regard, they were slightly comfortable when you get those windy or mild Florida days, that you didn't mind having a face covering on because you're not fully dressed. You're not layered up like you are in the Northeast. So you're only wearing maybe a t-shirt or, a really thin long sleeve shirt. So that added a little bit of insulation, a little bit of warmth. There was one day that I felt slightly hot, but even still nowhere near as oppressively hot as it was in August. And Melissa Eckler and I have said this: if I have to wear a mask in order to be safe in Disney, I don't even complain. I'll wear the mask. So even if it is August and I'm dripping sweat, I'll wear the mask. But we didn't have to stop and go to rest stations this time around because it wasn't to the point of where we had to peel the masks off our face and they were soaked through with sweat. It wasn't like that at all.
And the biggest advice that I can give as far as the mask goes, especially, anytime you go to Disney right now with masks, but especially when it gets hotter, have multiple masks in your bag ready to go, because they're going to get sweaty.
Yeah.
We were going up through Big Thunder Mountain and it had just stopped raining. My mask had gotten wet and I was like, God Almighty, I am out of breath. What is wrong with me? Yep. And Sarah pulled out another mask and said, here, put this on. I took that one off my face and just wrung it out, so that does make it tough.
When they get wet, do they get heavy? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So here's another hot tip. Disney has a brand new series of masks and they say new fabric on them. Mm-hmm. They are incredible in terms of like the breathability. They're really soft. I felt like they were super breathable and they were more comfortable than I got the Adidas masks when we went in the summer.
Okay.
Because they were like a polyester fabric and they were super breathable compared to the cotton ones. These were even more breathable and more comfortable than the Adidas masks. Like I had the Adidas masks with me. I bought a new fabric mask and I was like, wow, this is really comfortable to wear.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any masks, or if you're looking to buy some specifically for Disney, you want to get those Disney themed ones on the website, make sure they're the new fabric. And if you don't know if you want to know which ones those are, I could show you some of the pictures too. I can say, because they're still selling the old ones with the old fabric too. Like the Baby Yodas are still there in droves, and they're all like big shocker. They have still 1 billion pieces of Baby Yoda merch.
Right.
The Baby Yoda ones are still the old fabric, but I got a ton of Marvel. I got a Cheshire Cat one. I got some with Mickey prints on them. And I loaded up on brand new fabric masks because I was like, wow, these are so comfortable to wear. And I didn't even mind them at all. Like, and I say that not a single day did I say, man, I really mind having this mask on today.
Nice.
So yeah, listen, man, I could talk for forever about this last trip.
But
but we only reserve so much time for these episodes. So what we promised was to provide the people with a bit of controversy, as we love to do now on a regular basis.
Sure.
It's funny how podcasts take on a life of their own, and you break the internet once, and then you look for ways to continually break it.
You want to continue it, yeah.
So
and Sarah doesn't need that help; she just does it naturally.
Oh my word! And apparently, so much so that she left an impression on Piano Rob that he
every time he goes to Animal Kingdom, he walks by It's Tough to Be a Bug and takes a video and puts it in his story.
Listen, then the next time y'all go, if there's meet and greets again too, like you have to get a meet and greet shot with her and Tinkerbell.
Oh no, it won't. I tried in December. Nope. Not going to happen, dude. That
was hysterical.
It's not going to happen. She hates Tinkerbell.
See, now that's a hot take.
First hot take right there.
That's a hot take. People are listening. You just see that hate mail don't come my way. That's going to come your way now.
Yeah.
People are going to be writing you and be like, wait a minute, did I just hear that correct? Yeah, that's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Go back to episode 13.
Exactly.
Go back to episode 13 of Mouse Ears and Magic podcast. You can hear the full thing. She talks to Mark Daniel about not liking Tinkerbell at all. It's a good hot take. I was like, oh my goodness. You're lucky in that you guys buried that episode a little bit. So like there's some room now, like that's not out front, so that people are going back. They have to go in a deep dive for you to get that hot take.
But I don't think they do, because it is still our most downloaded episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, you have Mark on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He's so fantastic. One, he's a great interview. That was a great show. And two, he's the nicest man you'd probably ever talk to. But then again, like those Disney celebrities, like Piano Rob is the same way. We say it all the time. Piano Rob is just such a nice and genuine dude. But Mark is a amazing guy. His story is inspirational. He is the face of Disney parks when it comes to live streams and shows and on network productions.
Yeah,
so
on everything.
Yeah. So I mean I don't hate it. I don't hate it. All right, so you ready? Let's cause some controversy.
All right, and I'm going to let you go first because I know you're about to pin it on me. I'm going to let you go.
All right, so James and I wanted to do for a little fun. I didn't want it to be vacation talk the entire time. So we wanted to do a little bit of, we're calling this one Disney Confessionals, that each one of us is going to pick 3 Disney confessionals and kind of share something that we think we're slightly ashamed of and may not share this freely on social media all that often. So it's kind of like deep, dark secrets that we have and feelings that we have about Disney experiences and park stuff in general. And you're gonna hear it here first. You're gonna see it here live. So I get to go first. So since I'm going first with this one, James, you know which one I'm gonna pick, because I kind of did a mini break the internet with this one already.
Oh goodness, here we go.
I posted this one on social media already. I
made several public apologies, and now you're going to bring it up again.
I've issued several public apologies for this one, but I am not a fan, so to speak, of Monsters Inc. laugh floor, and dare I say, I think it is a waste of real estate and can be replaced.
We're just going to let that sink in for a minute, people, because that's tough, dude. That is tough.
It's great the first time. The repeat value of it is not great. Just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. If we go to the Magic Kingdom 20 times a year, we will do the laugh floor once. It's a pit stop. Do we need air conditioning?
I mean, I can see that. I don't hate it. I just don't agree with it.
Well, I don't. So first of all, too, like with all of my stuff, I don't hate anything at Disney.
Right.
Like the word hate is never applied to any. Maybe Dino Land.
We should have prefaced this by saying that we sat here for several minutes, both grunting and sighing, like deep sighs, when Mark came up with this idea. We're both like, oh crap. Like, I don't know. Like, we had to think really hard on this one.
It's hard to find something. So here's the only thing I will say about why I chose this. That area of Tomorrowland, I feel, could be just leveraged and utilized so much better than that show experience. And the same thing with what was there across the way. Like Stitch's Great Escape was not good. And then when they turned it into a Stitch meet and greet, that's an even bigger waste of space. You can have that meet and greet over on the stage.
Right.
That's like right there next to Space Mountain. He doesn't need to be inside and meet inside there. Like, we deserve better attractions over in Tomorrowland. Dude, I know where you're going with one of yours too. So like, you're gonna agree with me on this. Tomorrowland needs some TLC.
It does.
We've got the Tomorrowland Raceway, which is like, let's suck on a tailpipe for.
Wait, you don't hate on the Speedway, man.
It's cute, but dude, it smells. Let's get Let's get some electric cars in that joint. It smells. It really smells. It's not a fun area of the park. You can't hang out in it. You have to get by it, or you're going to get like carbon monoxide poisoning and die.
I grew up next to Talladega Super Speedway, so for me, it's nostalgic. Like that's home for me. Like I'm used to those fumes. It might be what's wrong with me today. Who knows?
So there's that one. You have a broken people mover at the moment. You have a defunct and closed alien encounter. You also have a closed laugh floor, which is not open right now.
Yep.
You have the Carousel of Progress, which is amazing, but that one needs to just got to get a little spruce up.
Yeah,
just a tiny bit.
And we got to get all the guns working on Buzz. Listen,
man, I like a challenge.
I mean, but if you get one of those guns that just flat out that doesn't work,
I like a challenge though. I'll take it. So we just rode that. Man, now I'm really going to get deep into my Alicia and I rode it. She'd never gotten Galactic Hero.
Yeah.
I wasn't even halfway through the first room and I maxed out. I had the left hand of that robot dead to rights. Nice. She looks at the score. She's like, we just got in the room. She's like, how did you do that? And then I'm like, all right, let's get yours. But her gun was wonky.
Right.
She had a gun it was like shooting like a shotgun. It wasn't hitting the same spot every fire. So it would go like left and then shoot 6 inches up. So I'm like, challenge accepted. Let's go. And we did. We maxed out both.
Nice.
All right, you go.
So I'm going to stay in Tomorrowland. And I've said this multiple times on my pod, so that's why I'm going ahead and leading off with it. Space Mountain is the second worst ride on property. I mean, it can go.
Wow.
I mean, look, and you've even said it yourself.
It's rough.
I mean, you need a chiropractor as soon as you get off.
I rode it with Dwayne and Lori. I rode in the third position. As we pulled into the station, I said, I need a backiotomy.
Yeah.
I said that out loud. Dwayne and Lori will be able to attest to that. I said, I need a backiotomy. My back hurt. I audibly gasped and yelled out a few times when we hit various points. Yeah. So there's the two tracks. You're not wrong. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's the second worst ride in parks. I don't know. That's a hot take. But there's two tracks. There's the Alpha and the Omega. Alpha's on the left side. Omega's on the right. The Alpha track is a bruiser. It's a bruiser. The Omega track's a little bit better. I don't know why. But the Alpha track is rough, yo.
Okay. We always get stuck on Alpha. So maybe if I did Omega, it might bump up to the third worst. I don't know. But
so try that next time and say, hey, listen, I want to jump over to Omega. But so here's the other reason that I know you hate it. Your kids always have to sit in front of you.
That makes it miserable, man. Trying to lean up, keep your hand on their shoulder. Because we can't help ourselves.
Yep. You always are in that third position, which is the roughest part because there's a whip effect in it. So you're getting whipped around pretty good on a rough track as is.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, I'm giving you a pass. I'm actually giving you a pass. I don't know if it's the third worst ride, but I'll give you a pass.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pass. We're going to get Tomorrowland aficionados that are going to blow us up. The hate mail is going to be coming.
And look, since we're already there, can we do something about the music?
I like the music. That music as you're walking off space, like I love that.
That's another thing about Space Mountain is the 30-mile long hike to get out. Gosh.
Yeah, the escalator, whatever it is, Omnimover, whatever it was, broke down. There used to be an Omnimover there.
But they're not going to fix it.
Well, they gave up on it. It's carpeted now.
Right.
They just gave up on it. They took it out.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to stay in Tomorrowland. Here's my second hot take. Praising Tomorrowland.
Okay.
Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is a better experience for me than Toy Story Mania. I said it.
Preach.
I said it. I don't like Toy Story Mania. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. It's just your arm hurts afterward. Dude, I can pull my arm out of my socket and I'm like fighting to get 200,000 points.
Doing this the whole time. Whole time. It's rough. I guarantee you we both get a message from Melissa about this, but no, I'm right there with you.
I enjoy that. I feel like a failure on Toy Story Mania because you'll pull up and it's like some dude's got 535,000 as the top score for the month. And I'm at like 197. And I'm like, what is that dude shooting at? We're shooting at the same thing. Yeah. I don't understand how people do that. And I've watched the videos of people to say like, hit this target, get these out, hit the volcano, get the lava coming out the volcano. No matter what I do, man, I feel like at the end of it, my arm is ticked off at me.
Yeah.
And I never leave that ride feeling accomplished. I'll take Space Ranger Spin. I'll get my Galactic Hero pin walking off. I feel like I saved the universe. Legit.
To me, the best part of Toy Story Mania is getting to see Sarah and the kids in the Goofy 3D classes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's the other reason why I'm not feeling it right now. So this is also very much a COVID statement. Those glasses be fogging up, and that is not an enjoyable thing shooting through that fog right now.
Because your mask.
Even Pandora, you have to wear those glasses like at the tip of your nose, because if you don't, like Pandora gets an extra foggy sheen to it.
Yep.
Not a fan of it. All right, man, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to go over to Hollywood Studios. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is better than Rise.
Oh, okay.
You don't hate it?
I don't hate that statement.
I thought that one might set you off a little bit.
Boarding groups.
Well,
down.
Overall, look, Rise is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But you've got the boarding group issue. You get the issue that it breaks down so much.
It's better. It's better now. It is better. It's not having those issues anymore.
They're slowly been fixing that, so I didn't know they had all that worked out. But then Mickey and Minnie's, man, there's so much to see. The rewritability factor for it is out of this world.
Agreed. So if I have to take just the ride experience, they're actually, I wouldn't disagree with you. They're closer than I would ever have imagined. Like Rise of the Resistance is so unique, dude. It's so unique. There's 3 distinct phases of that ride.
Yeah.
That you have, the pre-show and everything with Rey. Then getting onto that space cruiser and getting onto what is that Corellian Corvette, launching into space. The general, I'm forgetting his name right now. He's like Akbar. It's not Akbar. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry for those people that are like, you don't remember his name and you're a Star Wars fan. Yeah, he's a random dude. The animatronic is gorgeous. Then you arrive. The second phase is the detention, which is again when they don't have masks on and they can be really brutal and get up close and personal, like that makes it so much different. And then the last 6 minutes of the ride is like, just hang on and let your breath be taken away. But the boarding groups, man, I'm telling you again, the boarding groups diminish the overall satisfaction that I have with that ride.
General Hux. Just look up General Hux.
No, I know General Hux. Who's the Mon Calamar general? That is the pilot of the Resistance cruiser. I can't remember his name. Every time I see him, I just want to be like, it's a trap.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
We got to look that one up.
Not saying anywhere on here.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember his name.
Anyways, we'll spend all day looking for that.
Listen, I don't hate it. It is controversial.
Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie's is a great ride.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I wish they would have done different, which I know they couldn't, right? Because they're doing this in an existing building and all. But there's can I say what the scene is?
Yeah.
Is it too early? Okay. The waterfall scene. If that would have been a drop, that would have been it hands down. It would have been above and beyond anything.
So despite the fact that you don't have the physical to go with the projection at that moment, you still get a sensation of falling there, which is so cool. I like the sequence immediately after when you plunge into the water and the fish are going, and then the squid pulls out the trumpet. Do 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 do. I like that. Listen, that ride is, I've said it multiple times, if anything could replace the most beloved ride to me, the Great Movie Ride, and I don't mind and I don't hate it, that's a testament to how great that ride is. So it's a hot take, dude, but I'm not going to fight you on it. I like it. Dare I say, I like it. All right, ready? Here's my last confession. Via Napoli is the most overrated and borderline meh restaurant on property.
I haven't been there. I can't comment on this, but I do know there's a lot of people out there who love it.
I know there are. I preface every discussion I ever have on Italian food with, I am from the greater New York City area. I am spoiled. We get the best pizza, the best meatballs, the best chicken parm, the best Italian food you could ever wish for outside of Italy. Yeah. So we get really great Italian American cuisine. In my opinion, the pizza, it's okay. I will say this too, and this might be more of a hot take than the original, like Via Napoli's just meh. The pizza in Florida is disgusting. Gross. Like, I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but the pizza is gross. Like, I need to
pizza down here.
But I need to. So, and I'm sorry if I'm offending people of a certain geographic persuasion, but you need to come up. When you come, I will take you on a pizza tour up here, and I will show you pizza that will change your life. Like, come to the greater New York area and try the pizza up here, and then go back, and you're going to be like, listen, I can't do it. Like, the pizza up there is just that fantastic. Via Napoli's pizza is the only, I will say, edible pizza that we can do on property, and not wretch. Okay. That said, meh.
Okay. I don't hate it. I will say this. Yeah, we don't do pizza in the South. But you're not going to find barbecue up there in New York like you will down here either.
Fair. And that's a really fair point.
Yeah.
That's a really fair point. And that's the great thing about this country is the regional cuisine.
Exactly.
That there are certain areas of the country that when you go, you've got to try. And that's what I love about travel. And whenever I go to a certain area, I want to find out what that regional delicacy is, and I'm going to load up on that when I go, because I want to experience the best that region has to offer. Mm-hmm. If you come to New York, New York is kind of a culinary capital of the world too. It's a little unfair. We have gigantic Italian American, Asian American, Polish American, German American populations, that there's a lot of different cuisines that are all there, but barbecue, I'll give you that, man. Barbecue is not indigenous to the Northeast.
Yeah. And that's one reason why I've been hesitant to try the Regal Eagle.
I like it. We ate there twice.
Yeah, but until you go to the hole in the wall down the road here, when you pull up to it, you look at it and you're like, I'm pretty sure this place has been condemned. That's where you're getting your best barbecue. So,
true story. Some of the best pizza that I've ever had in my life are from the most shady places.
Yep.
So did you ever watch The Sopranos?
No. Okay.
So The Sopranos had it.
What is it with your podcast lately? I mean, Bridgerton, The Sopranos.
Well, come on, man. You can't get on me for The Sopranos. Sopranos was phenomenal television. The Sopranos used to have an opening crawl that went through mostly like New Jersey, like okay. Northeastern New Jersey, like Bergen County, Essex County, and they did a drive-by in the opening crawl, and there's a tiny little place. It just says Pizza Land on the front of it. My basement, the Tiki Room studio, is actually probably the size of this pizzeria. It was so tiny, like everything in it was kind of but the pizza they served out of there was the most delicious thing that you ever put in your mouth. It was so good. And they've changed over the years. The original owner, whose name was Fred, we didn't call it Pizza Land. We always called it Fred's, because Fred was the owner. It was 2 towns over from where I grew up. And then Fred's son took over for a while, and then Fred's son wound up selling it. But the pizza there is still, it's a reductive version of what it was when Fred made it 30 years ago. But it's still one of the best things. And you'd look at the place and you'd be like, I'm not going in there without a tetanus shot.
Right. Yeah.
And it's good stuff.
Up in Florence. Sarah had never been there. She basically grew up in Florence, and I was going to college there. And, she was going to find a quick bite to eat. I was like, hey, look, this place is Tuesday. They've got $1 hot dogs and barbecue sandwiches. It's like, let's go there. She's like, okay, cool. And we pull up to it, and it's like literally, it's the size of the room I'm in, the studio right now. There was enough room for one person to walk in the door, place the order, grab their drink, their bag of chips, and then they'd come out, and you'd wait on the other side at the window on the side of the building. It was tiny and looked horrible, but man, it was so good.
So good food. Yeah. Listen, I love off the beaten path. All right, man. You got one more Disney confession.
All right. Park hopping is way overrated.
Whoa. We're gonna fight on that one.
Let's go.
We're gonna fight on that one.
Look, I just, when I get into a groove, I'm in the groove, right? So we're rope dropping somewhere, and we don't stay all day at a park. Well, in September we did because of the limited park hours, but typically we're not going to stay open to close. So we're going to split the day up. So we start off, if we rope drop Magic Kingdom, we do the big things in the morning. We go back to the resort, we rest, we swim, and then we go shut it down. To me, because of the split up, it's 2 different park experiences. And I just don't see which you're an annual pass holder, right? We're not.
We are.
Okay. So we
get park hopping. Yep.
Right. So for us, we're paying, was it $65 extra a ticket,
I understand from that perspective. From what you just said, I agree with you 100%. It's not worth the extra $65 for the 3 hours that you're going to leverage it. We are annual pass holders, or when we're staying on property, we're bouncing all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, when you do packages, it makes a lot more sense to get a park hopper.
Yeah.
Versus if you're buying just like 2 tickets or 3-day tickets, and then you add the park hopper, it's crazy. It's crazy expensive. It does not make financial sense to do it. We love, just like you do, but the best way to have a different park experience is to have a different park. We love going to the Magic Kingdom in the morning, going over to the pool, chilling out at the pool, getting a quick lunch. and then hopping over to like Epcot for dinner. And then
when you finish at the same park you started, you also have a feel of the crowds. You know how things are rolling in that park that day. Mm-hmm. So it makes going back that evening even more smooth for you because you know what's going on already.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I love park hopping because it's just indigenous to the way that we Disney. Right. That said, this last trip, because of the way a lot of the group activities were set up, we would open and then close a park down, and it didn't bother me. I just like the fact that there were extended park hours on this last trip, and that there was a Magic Kingdom open till 10, and an Epcot open till 11, and Animal Kingdom that was open to 8, so we could see Pandora at night. Like that to me was the coolest thing about this last trip that we took, was that it was all kind of back. But I will say, of all three of your hot takes or your confessions, I kind of understand all of them.
Yeah,
I get it. I don't hate them. I don't hate them.
Huh? I don't guess we broke the internet today after all.
No, I don't know if we broke the internet. Listen, so the third one for me was like a big stretch. Like I love Disney so much that even things that when I say like, I'd like this to change or I'd like a renovation, there's not a single thing that I hate at Disney. The only thing that I hate about Disney, so Linda would like a vegetable.
Yeah.
Mom, where's the meatloaf? Mom. The only thing that I don't like about Disney is I don't like Dinoland. So Dinoland USA is the one place that I will say I could do without. I could use a good change. Hi, we're podcasting. I'm recording right now. I can't go to. I'll leave a giant gap in the audio. Again, folks, you get to see real life like we did the other day with Piano Rob. You get a chance to see real life.
Yeah,
this is like
we're fancy in the sense that we got pretty lights and microphones, right? We don't have our own studio building, so
it's shared space. I got I live in broadcast in a laundromat / playroom / man cave, and it's all good.
But look, I think we can both agree on the Dino Land. I think Dinosaur is probably the worst ride on the property. There's going to be a lot of people that don't agree on that one, but
I like Dinosaur.
You do?
I like Dinosaur. I don't like Dino Land. I'm hopeful that if there's a retheming, so if there was a retheming to Dinosaur, Disney Bubble Podcast did this several weeks ago. It was like before it was in 2020. They had a discussion about like how to change and retheme. I heard the most amazing retheming idea for that area of the park, and it was Duckburg.
Okay.
It was Duckburg, and I loved it. I mean, they have all the characters over there now. Like they have Scrooge, they have Launchpad, so they've got the character meet and greet. It would kind of make a lot of sense because you have the connection between birds and dinosaurs, which is like really cool. I don't know, I'm not going to get too deep in the science, but the evolution of dinosaurs into birds. But with a little bit of a tweak and a little bit of finesse, they said turn that into like a Duckburg, keep dinosaur, and then the Disney Bubble said the quest for the dinosaur is Scrooge McDuck wants to complete his collection and commissions you to go back in time. So you would obviously change the pre-show, change some minor things with the ride. And I was like, wow, that's clever. Like I really like that idea. So when you're walking through the queue, like it's the personal collection of Scrooge.
Mm.
And then, he sends you back in time to go get the dinosaur. Like he doesn't just want dinosaur bones and artifacts. He wants a real live dinosaur because he's the richest duck in Duckburg.
Right. I don't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
Here's my thing. And a lot of people will say they don't mind dinosaur. Look, I don't know if it's a height thing, right?
Yeah.
Because
I like it.
look, my knees are in the back of that seat in front of me every time, right?
Yeah.
And it is not a smooth ride by all means.
No, it's not.
So my knees, when we get off, my knees are literally bleeding.
Yeah.
From the back of the seat in front of me. So
that's rough. That's rough, dude. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. See, I like it because I'll go on Space Mountain the day before, my back is all thrown out and out of alignment. Then I go on Dinosaur the next day, and it just like kicks it right back in.
That's so bad.
Yeah, so that's the chiropractor that I need. That's the bacchiotomy that I need. When your body's getting whipped all over the place, it's a good time. It's a good time. I just, dude, the area of itself, like, it's really low. It's low quality. And I get it. Everyone, they always blast when you say that on Facebook. It's like, do you understand the story? The first thing they say is, do you understand the story?
That's what it did to Jameson. The kid was. I mean,
yeah, there you go. He's crying. Yeah.
Those of you watching or listening, I'm sorry, you can't see it, but it's a picture of our 6-year-old, and he was not happy.
Yeah. Now Bella closes her eyes a few times throughout it.
Yeah.
So, but that area, whenever you have people who talk about it on Facebook, they will always, the first thing they say is, do you understand the story of Dino Land? It's brilliant. I'm like, it's not brilliant. It's just an explanation of how they get away with it looking like crap.
Yeah. It's a way they get around, Walt's big thing, right? He said it was not going to look like, one of those carnivals or anything like that. And here we are. Dino
Land is a cheap fare. It is a cheap carnival. And I joke with people. I'm like, listen, I have ready access to the Jersey Shore. Like, listen, if I want that,
or not the show.
Yeah, if I want that kind of experience, I'm just going to go to Point Pleasant. Yeah, and ride those rides. Like, that's not a Disney World experience that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go down the road to the shut down Kmart parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we could do one episode. I feel like let's do a deep dive one episode, and let's have Derek on with us. Let's have Derek on.
I like that
on that one because it's the most controversial area of the park, but like restaurant, we could go into restaurant tourists. We could go, listen, I could do, we're at 1 hour and 17 minutes right now. I could go deep on that. Yeah. I mean, like I could do another hour and just get on my soapbox and talk about Dino Land on what I would like to tweak with it and fix. Cause it's a cool concept. It's a really cool concept. There's some cool stuff over there that people who have little kids love that play area, which is shut down right now. They love that because that's an area your kids can just go and hang out and you don't have to worry about them. There's some cool aspects of Dino Land. It needs work. It needs a little TLC.
Yeah.
It needs work.
Yeah.
But Disney's never done, right? Never. So, dude, thanks for hanging with me. Everybody, like we're both feeling the crunch right now. Everyone is still in Disney World. Now you and I have been here with Brian. We've been home now for 2 days. I joined you in the Disney depression. They're still sending pictures every minute. So I had no one to talk about my trip with. So dude, thank you for taking one for the team.
Oh yeah.
And sitting here with me.
Anytime.
And listening to me babble on about my vacation.
Look, one thing that I am going to do, because Dwayne won't hear this until he's already home. So
he won't.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to text Rob and tell Rob, hey, tomorrow I need you to blow Dwayne's phone up with some pictures while you're at the park, just so he can see how it feels now.
Here's a little torture for you too, buddy.
Yeah. Yes.
So the podcast of Marvel Monday did help with the come down. I will say, which is also why we started this podcast in the first place. It was a way to chase the Disney blues when we weren't in parks, and it worked. It really worked. So thanks for helping me chase the Disney blues here on Tuesday. 2 days removed. It was a good time. We can always talk about everything. You want to talk about your fight card coming up because we have let's do it.
So you hadn't listened to the Wolves podcast yet. You got to go check it out. Him and our co-host Brian, they just put together fight card number 2. So April 11th is going to be, the the three of us normally on Mouse Series of Magic, me, Sarah, Brian, we're going to be joined by Mark Valentine. We're going to be joined by the Wolf, and we're going to be joined by Mark Daniel. And we're going to figure out who wins this fight card. I'm really excited about it. Mark, I know, Mark Valentine, he brought all the humor last time with the flying Dasani bottles. But you're going to meet, I think you might meet your match, with the comedy this time with Mark Daniel.
I have
go head to head with this.
Yeah, I have the popcorn ready this next round for round 2. I also know for a fact that Ethan, he knew his performance on the first fight card was not great. He got roasted a little bit for some of his choices. So this time around, I know that he kept the end game was in mind. And I saw some of the preliminary matchups.
Yep. He stepped it up this time.
So he, unlike the last time, there's no Indiana Jones this time around. You chose poorly is not going to be the case this time around. Now it's really going to come down with his ability to argue. I know that today he dropped a little Star Wars nugget, and listen, that I had to weigh in on that one. I had to weigh in on the Emperor versus Anakin round, and the Emperor versus the chosen one, so to speak.
Listen, and I don't hate Wolf's pick on that. I don't think he chose poorly. I just don't think there was much he could choose. I mean, so
I know, yeah, and I kind of had it with him. So for those of you too, so there's going to be one of the matchup is going to be Brian chooses. They had to choose Sith. Mm-hmm. Brian chose the Emperor Palpatine, Sheev Palpatine, and then Wolf wasn't left with much choice at that point. He went with the chosen one. He went with Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. And I kind of weighed in as the Star Wars fanatic that I am. I couldn't wait until April 11th.
Yeah.
So I had to weigh in. But I'll have the popcorn. Mark's going to crack us up. Mark Daniel is going to be there as a special guest judge. So we've got a ways to go for that one, but let's drop it now. Let's start pushing it now.
Dude, I'm excited. Here's what's funny was it 2 hours ago I called you and I was like, dude, is it bad that I want to start pushing this now? And you're like, yeah, let's wait a couple weeks at least. And then 2 hours later, here we are. Hey, talk about the fight card.
Let's talk about it. Well, listen, we gotta talk about something, right? But thank you so much, James, for joining us. Don't forget, so April 11th, we got James has a second fight card, round 2. Mark Daniel is going to be the special guest host. And thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube and over on this Dislife podcast. Again, we have all of our podcasts over at www.thisdislifepodcast.com. Hang out with us in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/thisdislife. And then follow us on Instagram at this Dislife podcast. We've got amazing pictures that I'm going to be sharing, all the great stuff that Lori, Willie, and I walked around and we shot. We're going to be sharing all that stuff in the course of the next few weeks until we can reload again with our next trip. And as always, check out James and Brian and Sarah over at Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast. They're also part of this Dislife network. Great friends of ours. We love their show. We love laughing with them every single week. And occasionally we like torturing them with pictures of our Disney vacation, so much so that they have to mute our group chat. So thank you, James, again for being a good sport. Appreciate you hanging out with us. You want to say goodbye for us, buddy?
No, you got it, man. I'm my revenge already. I'm sorry. I'm going to be blowing these suckers up next time we do.
Thank you so much, everybody. James is gonna shirk his responsibility and say goodbye this time around. So I'll just say, as always, I hope the rest of your week is filled with faith, trust, and pixie dust. We'll see you real soon. Take care.